Good morning, brothers and sisters. Jim Beckwith reporting here at End Times Prophecy News. I hope you all are doing well today. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Georgia. So we're going to go to the news, as will be today's news this morning on February 29th. President Trump, border security is health security. Democrat policy of open borders is a direct threat to the health of all Americans. Donald Trump held a great Keep America Great rally in North Charleston, South Carolina Friday at the North Charleston Coliseum. Supporters started lining up at least 24 hours early to see the historic president. Huge cheers for Senator Tim Scott and Lindsey Graham of South Carolina as they enter the North Charleston Coliseum ahead of Trump rally tonight. President Trump pointed out the obvious during his speech that open border Democrats are a direct threat to America's health. Yes, Democrats are a direct threat. They are the globalists. They are the bureaucrats. They want open borders so they can bring in radical Islam, number one. Number two, so they can bring in illegals that we have to pay for, give them free room, board, rent, everything, feed them health care out of our own pockets to destroy our economy. Open borders so that they can continue in their drug and prostitution and pedophilia and pedahore. It's non-stop corruption with the Democrats. They make big money in every one of those sectors. Big money, billions. President Trump says we must understand that border security is also health security, and you've all seen that the wall is going up like magic. You think that was an easy one? It wasn't an easy one. It's going up like magic. It's going up great, and we're now at 132 miles. And that's going to increase in speed, folks. Whether it's the virus we are talking about or many of the other health threats, the Democrat policy of open borders is a direct threat to the health and well-being of all Americans. Now, I'll be reporting this later, but I just want to give you a heads up. We're increasing the building of the speed of the wall, but at the same time, Trump has lost with the courts, the Democrat courts in the Ninth Circuit. So, and it is with illegal immigration and throwing them back into their country and others. But first, Democrats' support for open borders is a direct threat. First, let's hear from Trump.
We must understand that border security is also health security. And you've all seen the wall is going up like magic. It's going up like magic. You think that was an easy one? That was not an easy one. It's going up great, and it's we're up now 132 miles, and this is the exact wall that border security wanted. Everything. This is everything they wanted. 132 miles already. We'll have 500 miles built by very early next year sometime. So one of the reasons the numbers are so good. We will do everything in our power to keep the infection and those carrying the infection from entering our country. We have no choice. Whether it's the virus that we're talking about or many other public health threats, the Democrat policy of open borders is a direct threat to the health and well-being of all Americans. Now you see it with the coronavirus. You see it. You see it with the coronavirus. You know, you see that. When you have this virus or any other virus or any other problem coming in, it's not the only thing that comes in through the border. And we're setting records now at the border. We're setting records. And now, just using this.
So today's news is to be kept in perspective, okay? In the past, I've talked about how the coronavirus is terrible, how we could have 300,000 people or 100,000 people dead, or thousands of people dead across the world, many thousands, maybe 50,000 dead already. speculation, instead of the 2,800 or so, it's almost 2,900 now total dead in the world as a confirmed cases that are dead. Okay? We can blow up the news about the coronavirus, but the fact of it is that it is the regular flu that's killing off far more times, 50 to 100, or in this country, over 100 times more people are dying, probably 1,000 times on the basic influenza or flu in this country. So what's the best form of protection from that? Well, basically, the professionals will tell you that 6 to 8 meters, which is about 21 to 21.5 feet away from that person, is a safe place. In case they cough or sneeze, you probably are not going to get that flu. That's a long ways. Yeah, so distance is very important. Number two, if you're closer and you're shopping, you might want to get a mask, okay? But what's your number one threat? It ain't the coronavirus. It is the basic flu, folks. Let's keep things into perspective here. Let's look at the great big picture and look at what's really killing people in this world. You see, the coronavirus, as I said already, was created in Wuhan, China, we all know. It was let out accidentally, but it was supposed to be for the West. But it backfired and got let out accidentally in the laboratories. It cursed and has brought a lot of death, a very small amount of death actually, to China. Live from Hong Kong, to date in 2020, influenza, the flu, accounts for more than 50 times the number of deaths as the coronavirus in Hong Kong. That's Hong Kong. Remember, that's supposed to be the Democrat-ruled part of China. There is a total amount of coronaviruses as it says right here, 85,000. The last time I reported on this, I think it was about 82. And that was about 5 days ago. So it's gone up about 3,000 confirmed in the whole world. It now finally crossed 2,900. I think about 5 days ago it said 2,807, something like that. It's about confirmed deaths now are about 115 more approximately. And total recovered is almost 40,000. Okay. So what do we have here as a number versus confirmed who have it? The number of confirmed recovered are now reaching closer to 50%. About 45% of those who get it have already recovered. Of course, this all is according to your age. The younger you are, the easier it is for you to overcome the coronavirus. The same thing with the basic flu. Same thing. More than a month after Hong Kong reacted to the coronavirus and closed its border to neighboring China, the overall damage of the virus is not nearly as severe as originally feared, and compared to the common flu, it is minuscule. News of the coronavirus reached Hong Kong and the world in early January. Hong Kong citizens were curious at first and then almost hyper-reactive. The Wuhan coronavirus was a big unknown and still is. Hong Kong did very little at first other than observe the actions of the Chinese government in Hubei in response to the newly discovered coronavirus. By the end of January, right before the Chinese New Year, the government of China took the unprecedented move and shut down everything in Hubei province in China. Roadblocks were erected and people were forced to stay in homes in Hubei province. After the Monday and Tuesday holidays, all businesses were shut down in Hong Kong and throughout China. Schools were closed until the end of February in Hong Kong, and the following week businesses opened, but with option to work from home. Most companies followed the Hong Kong government practices with civil servants and kept their employees home. This has continued throughout the month of February, and schools in Hong Kong next announced they would be closed till mid-March and then until April 20th. I don't think what they're showing here is, but actually they're bringing people back to work in China. That's right. In fact, they're telling them, get out of your houses now in many places. Alex Jones is confirming that, but it's not in this report. Why? Because we're looking at a lot better numbers now. The amount of people that are being infected is a lot less. The amount of people that are recovering from it are now 39,000 out of the 85,000 that were confirmed. The big picture is very important, folks. Yes, the coronavirus is very dangerous and very easy to get it, and has a very long gestation period, you see. And it will kill more of the older people because they can't handle it. Hong Kong is one of the most densely populated areas on Earth, with a population of around 8 million people. As of this morning, there are 94 coronavirus cases confirmed and 2 deaths in Hong Kong. The percent of the confirmed cases to a total population is a minuscule 0.001%. Deaths as percent of population are thus far as 2 deaths in 8 million. China has a population of around 1.4 billion. The number of coronavirus confirmed cases stands at 79,251 with around 2,700 confirmed deaths. This is old numbers here though, but they're still very close. The percent of confirmed cases to the population is also a minuscule 0.0056%. Deaths as a percent. So we know in China it's a 0.0056 and in Hong Kong it's 0.001. So in other words, China as a whole is about 5 times more cases than Hong Kong is per. Okay? Very interesting, because yet Hong Kong is supposed to be the Democrat where they're free of the communist rule, but not entirely. The U.S. has reported 64 confirmed cases to date of the coronavirus and no fatalities. Now, this could be an old number, so don't get all, talking about how I'm pushing up. It could be slightly old. It's changing day by day. With 350 million Americans, the number of confirmed cases is also at amounts almost nil, with no deaths. Oh, should we talk about the flu, the basic flu of many different strains in America that's killed? I think it's like, oh my God, it's a huge amount of number. This last year, it's amazing. We have 0 of the coronavirus, but we have many tens of thousands of people died in America. I mean, okay, let's just take a look real quick. Sorry, it wasn't right. The flu has already killed 10,000 across the U.S. as world frets. CNBC, that's 2020. That's the world. Here's the flu deaths. It says from October 1st, 2019 through February 22. Certainly not a year, is it? What is that? 1, 2, 3... 4, almost 5 months, okay? 5 months. CD estimates 32 million to 45 million flu illnesses. 14 million to 21 million flu medical visits. 310,000 to 560,000, or almost 500,000 flu hospitalizations. And 18 to 46,000 flu deaths. But so far, we've had 0 in America that I know of the coronavirus deaths. What's your chances? Well, in Hong Kong, it's 50 to 1 that's going to kill you, isn't it? You see, so we need to keep things in perspective, okay? If you're going to worry about the flu, it certainly ain't the coronavirus flu that's going to be the main killer. It's going to be the standard flu. So let's continue in today's news. Oh, I wanted to show you this one. The St. Louis woman who was robbed, beaten, stabbed by a 6-foot Somali migrant teen who was then let off because he has an IQ of 49. And who let him off? The prosecutor was Muslim. That's right. We protect our own. A St. Louis woman was robbed, beaten, and stabbed by her 15-year-old neighbor last week. The teen stole her phone twice, beat her once, then came back, beat her again with a metal rod, stabbed her in the face with the metal rod while she was on the phone with police with a second phone. But the 6-foot teen is still free. The court let him off because his IQ is 49. Well, the update in this story is that she got, after it happened, she's doing a lot better now, okay? If you...
A 5 on your side exclusive.
Actually, that's not it, but I think this is her... His name is Hassan, the one that beat her up. And now, anyway, he already broke his restraining orders that she pulled out on him, and now he's been arrested and detained. That's the latest thing on that story. Okay. All right, so we continue on. Turkey breaks its promise, announces free passage to new wave of Afghan and Arab migrants to Europe. Yes, Turkey and Erdogan, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, the leader of Turkey, want to do what the Pope wants them to do. Massive numbers of Afghan and Arab migrants are gathered at the border of Turkey and Greece after the Erdogan government announced on Friday to give third world migrants free passage to Europe. They used to block them, but not anymore. Expect millions to come in the next 6 months. So that's bad, but at the same time, you'll look that Greece has brought a whole bunch of ships to stop I forgot where it was, but Greece has brought a whole bunch of ships to stop the invasion in the sea there between Turkey and Greece. Yeah. I'm not going to go into that right now, but Greece is really going to war against that invasion. Elizabeth Warren is in the danger of losing the primary in her home state of Massachusetts. Doesn't that make you want to laugh and giggle? It just makes you all happy inside, doesn't it? Liars Brian Williams and Michael Moore smear President Trump on MSNBC as falsely saying coronavirus is a hoax. I told you in the last video that this coronavirus is all about attacking Trump. It's the impeachment 3.0. We're going to destroy the economy. We're going to make everyone fear everything. We're going to get all of our globalists, the 1%ers, who control 99% of the stock market, to pull their money out and watch it cave. You see, anyone who thinks that it is only the people that are 1,000 or have hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars are the ones who run the stock market, you're ignorant. It is the trillionaires, the blue bloods, who have most of the money in the stock market. Jeff Bezos is just a front. He's not the richest man in the world. Stop it. You've been lied to. These people have, these blue bloods and these Rockefellers, they have trillions of dollars. They consider their wealth of 400 to 500 trillion total. So they are pulling their money out to get rid of Trump, to force this economic collapse worldwide. But it's not going to work because American citizens are still working just like they were. There's no coronavirus lockup like China where they're going to bar up the roads. That's not happening in America. It's not going to happen either. You're not going to affect the paupers and the poor people who make only $50,000 or $100,000 a year. Far more than what I make. But the point here is you're not going to affect us. You see? It's all a psyop. Including the coronavirus is a psyop that it's going to kill you, but it's actually the regular flu is about 1,000 times more killer in this country. Actually, the number is even higher than that since there's 0 coronavirus deaths in America. New DOJ prosecutors say the Roger Stone legal team's accusations on jurors' liberal bias and lies is a baseless conspiracy theory. New DOJ prosecutors say it's a conspiracy theory when it's a fact. Now you see how wicked they are. These are the bad characters in the DOJ. Definitely. We have good and bad characters. Bernie Sanders, Mike Bloomberg, and other Democrats falsely accused Trump of calling the coronavirus a hoax, just like the mainstream media. As we saw right here. So Bernie Sanders jumped on that bandwagon. But the left is also attacking Bernie Sanders and doesn't want him to be the Democratic front-runner candidate. Funny, isn't it? Sick media falsely accuses Trump of saying coronavirus is a hoax again. Shocking, mother of U.S. hostage Austin Tice says her son is alive in Syria and Trump wants to bring him home, but U.S. officials are blocking negotiations. I think many Americans realize the war that Trump has against the media and many bureaucrats in Washington to make America great again and to keep us safe. Don't we? Joe Biden says he became a professor after leaving the United States Senate, but he never taught a class. Well, it is obvious that you can have an honorary doctor's degree, an honorary professor's degree. Honorary because we honor you as being a philanthropist like George Soros. But God's word says that in Romans 1, he says, professing to be wise, they became fools. Well, see, Joe Biden, who has gaffe after gaffe after gaffe of stupid remarks, wrong, lies, stupidity, professing to be a professor, he becomes a fool, doesn't he? And why do the professors in college become fools, as God's word says? Because they're loaded up with Jesuit curriculum of lies, of anti-God, anti-Christian, rejecting God in the curriculum. Pro-LGBTQ, pro-sodomite, pro-killing our babies and branding it women's health. Sick. Very, very sick. So that's why the professors have been professing to be wise but become fools, haven't they? And they are destroying our morals and turning our kids against us, aren't they? Top Democrat pushes open borders, leaves town hall after being challenged by legal immigrant group. It makes perfect sense that she leaves after she's challenged with the truth. I just want to protect my Hispanic people, my illegals coming into America. I don't care what the law says. Jerry Nadler announces he will call in the 4 corrupt Roger Stone prosecutors, U.S. Attorney John Durham and U.S. Attorney Jeff Jensen. That will be an interesting one, wouldn't it? Because we know that John Durham is definitely not corrupt, it would seem, huh? Or the other attorney, Jeff Jensen, that AG Barr appointed to investigate the Dems and the Russian, and to investigate the investigators of the Mueller investigation. A live stream video, President Trump holds rally in Charleston, South Carolina on eve of primary election. 13,000 fill the venue. Breaking appeals court rules former White House attorney Dan McGahn does not have to testify in front of Democrat kangaroo court. A big lose for the House. Big lose for Pencil Neck. What's the matter, Pencil Neck and Nasty Pelosi? Have you lost your power over the courts? It would seem they're starting to lose their power. But they're still getting some wins. We're coming over the crest of the power struggle of the globalists in this country. Breaking news, great news. President Trump again announces the nomination of a brilliant GOP lawmaker, John Ratcliffe, as Director of National Intelligence. Very great. Very wise man. The Air Force alters service and bows down to the LGBTQ, and they change their service anthem to gender-neutral lyrics. Isn't that sick? President Trump, yes, I think that CNN is very disreputable. They're trying their very best to instill fear in people on what? The coronavirus. They're not only trying to instill fear in people on the coronavirus, they're also collapsing with all their trillions, the wealth in the stock market, but they're also blaming Trump for the coronavirus. You even see it in my threads that even in my threads, these people are coming into my threads and saying, you just watch all the coronavirus is going to spread like wildfire at the Trump rallies. No, it's going to be the regular influenza that could spread during the Trump rallies. Yes. FBI lovebird Strzok Page skit brings down the House at CPAC. Pretty sickening. It's never been so sickening to watch an FBI agent like this in front of an investigation to act like that, isn't it? Vice President Pence appears on Rush Limbaugh's show to talk coronavirus. President Trump has no higher priority than the health and safety of the American people. Very true. Very true. And we've already addressed that in the first video, okay, in the first report. But Vice President Pence saying the same thing. And remember, Vice President Pence, I think it was the MARS virus first started in his state. So he knows firsthand knowledge of how to deal with something like that as a leader. Wayne Allen Root, meet comrade Fidel Communist Sanders. There's a good read there. America's dumbest senator warned Republican leaders that a Biden crime family probe could help Russia? Say what? Yes, he is America's dumbest senator. The same dumb Senator Richard Burr who spread the lie and is a lapdog for the Democrats, who spread the lie that Donald Trump called these countries S-hole countries. Yeah, he spread that lie. He's disgusting. Richard Burr is his name. It never stops. Leftist appeals court blocks President Trump's remain in Mexico policy, saying it goes beyond boundaries of law. The Ninth Circuit Court did this. That's right. Less than a year ago, another federal appeals court ruled the remain in Mexico policy could proceed. But the open borders left will never stop in their attempts to destroy this nation. Very true. Federal appeals court Friday blocked President Trump's remain in Mexico policy, ruling it went beyond the boundaries of federal law and eliminating the most important tool Homeland Security used to stem last year's border surge. But here's the thing. Number one, federal law usurps state laws. Number two, it is Trump's and the administration's policy and formal rule is to keep us safe from illegal aliens. So how can it be that his ruling went beyond the boundaries of federal law? It's not. It's a lie from the pit. Officially known as the Migrant Protection Protocol, the policy was used to push the migrants who showed up at the U.S.-Mexico border back across the boundary, where they were told to wait for their immigration court dates in the U.S. But the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals did a number on Trump again, said federal law doesn't allow for such a blanket return policy, and upheld a preliminary injunction. The court forcefully rejected the Trump administration's assertion that it could stand asylum seekers in Mexico and subject them to grave danger, said Judy Rabinovitz, a lawyer with the American Civil Liberties Union, who argued the case against the government. It's time for the administration to follow the law and stop putting asylum seekers in harm's way? How about American citizens? Oh, we don't care about them. These people are sick, aren't they? Just a second here. Oh yeah, so then there's Joe Biden says, I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the U.S. Senate. Well, at least he's not looking forward to running for U.S. Senator, as he said the other day. Mr. Gaff. Former NFL player calls Trump first black president at White House event. There's an interesting one. What you going to do with that one, Joe Biden? Orange man is called by an NFL player the first black president. Oh, there's kind of a stomp. I think Trump just threw the gavel down on you there on that one. When will this woman be deported for her immigration fraud with her brother lover, Ilhan Omar? Watch Ilhan Omar harass Mike Pompeo at hearing. There's nothing more brazen than the Muslims, especially when they get into government. But her day's coming. Democrats cave to radical Jew haters in party. Candidates will all skip AIPAC this year. Why would you think that a politician, a Muslim politician in America, is not going to hate the Jews, even as a politician in America? When are you going to get it through your head, voters, that you need to stop voting for Muslims because they are racist against Jews? Wake up! New level of sickness. Donald Trump Jr. blasts Democrats for hoping coronavirus crisis hurts president. Unhinged Democrat lawmaker threatens Don Jr. with physical violence over comment on coronavirus. That stands to reason. That par for the course in the Democrat Party that's becoming the Socialist Party. And Bernie Sanders, the head of the Socialist Party, Democrat Party, will probably be debating Trump in October and September and October for the presidency. His party is the most violent, period, there is. They've done more beating ups. They are head of the there are more Antifa that love Bernie Sanders than they like the Democrat Party, folks. The rest of the candidates. They like Bernie the most. They don't even trust their own Democrat Party. Even the Antifa know that Democrats and Republicans are both been subverted and bought out by the globalists. Most of the Antifa knows this, you see. But the problem with the Antifa is they think a socialist is the answer, which is even worse. That's why they're violent. We need a Fox News in Europe. Jews in Germany appeal to Rick Grenell for help against horde leftist media. Wait a minute. An openly gay Rick Grenell, who Donald Trump appointed, But the Jews in Europe are appealing to Rick Grinnell for help against the horde leftist media. They do need a Fox News in Europe, definitely. Flashback, CDC workers were crying in the hallways when Trump was elected president. What does that tell you about how corrupt the CDC is with Nancy Messonnier, the sister of Rod Rosenstein, who opened up the floodgates for the Russian collusion hoax, the spying on the Trump administration, and also Impeachment 2.0 with Robert Mueller. That's because sister's going to head up the Impeachment 3.0, but it's going to be a big fail because Trump will be the savior in the end. More than fishy, Georgia pro-life group announces $3 million ad spend on Senator Kelly Loeffler over pro-life Doug Collins. More than fishy would be right. There's a good read there. Very interesting, because here you have in Georgia, where I live, you have a lot of God-fearing Christians here. A lot of good, pretty good Christians here. No, they don't know God's word very well, but a lot of them are God-fearing, and at the same time, you have the Georgia Guidestones, the globalist declaration foundation in stone, saying we need to kill off 92% of mankind and reduce it to 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. That's their first commandments of the 10 commandments on the Georgia Guidestones in stone. You can Google it anywhere. I've showed it many times. And the first commandment is to kill off 92% of mankind, because we got to reduce it down to 500 million. Hidden in the details, the market downturn is being blamed on fears of coronavirus, but several experts claim it's due to actions by the Fed. All right, we're going to move over to Red State here and check out some headlines. Sanders-linked group entered into racial discrimination, NDA. Chris Matthews mistakes GOP Senator Tim Scott for Democratic challenger to Lindsey Graham. Regulators boost PG&E's wildfire fine to $2.1 billion. That's kind of a very important thing there. Why? Because these wildfires were not wildfires. They're actually, what you call those, fires that were started by the government. I forgot the name of those. I forgot the name of that. But they released this technology many years ago. I think it was in 2005. Technology where they have unseen laser hit. You can't even see the laser. And it destroys the land with instant super eye intense heat way above the heat of a fire. That's why they're melting cars, glass, and steel because a forest fire doesn't do that. So here they are persecuting, and instead of the globalists paying for what they did for killing off mankind in California in 2 different major fires, they're trying to destroy PG&E and stop and shut off all the electricity in all these supposed wildfire scares in California, so that people have no power, and people who need electricity to run their oxygen machines when they're older, a lot of them have already died. It's just to create more havoc, more death, more persecution in California and to the people there. Don't let a good disaster go to waste, they always say, the globalists. So now they're going to penalize PG&E for what they did. It's what the devils in hell do. We recognize our fundamental obligation is to operate our system safely, and we share the same objectives as the Commission and other state leaders, namely reducing the risk of future wildfires in our communities. But for some reason, the wildfires are going like crazy, just like Australia. Why? Because, that's what they're called, direct energy weapons, DEWs. Direct energy weapons. It's a fact. You can Google it. You can see how how they proven their direct energy weapons were proven fact in, I think it was like in 2005, in a video the government put out. Okay, unseen. You can't even see when it hits the ground. We'll see, if you turn on a direct energy weapon from a plane high up in the sky in the middle of the night, do you think you're going to see it? You can't even see it in the daytime. And then all of a sudden a fire starts and you blame it on PG&E. Yes, and you kill a ton of people. That's what they're doing. They're so wicked in California. Why? Because the Democrats rule California. But Trump is slowly changing that. Nunes warns GOP has subpoenas ready for FBI. DOJ figures if they win the House in 2020. Appeals court temporarily blocks Trump administration's Remain in Mexico policy. We already heard about that. Senate Majority Leader McConnell speaks on failed pro-life bills. CNN commentator attacks black Trump supporters. Shame on you. Shame on you. Just like Hildebeest, we're a basket full of deplorables. The man behind the spear, Freeman Dyson, is dead at 96. Have no idea what that's about. Trump accuses Dems of politicizing coronavirus. Tells South Carolina rally, we are totally prepared. Very true. Listen to Trump. And I have to admit, you need to stay away from Mike Adams and Alex Jones, and they're selling food for coronavirus. The best thing again is just get a mask or stay away from people and wash your hands. And don't stick your fingers in your eyeballs or your nose or in your mouth especially when you're out in public. Okay? Don't do that. But anyway, yeah. They're definitely politicizing the coronavirus against Trump. CDC says its coronavirus test kit is ready for prime time. You see? Nancy Messenger doesn't want that to happen, but Alex Azar and Mike Pence have stepped up to the game, and sorry, it's going to happen. We're going to have test kits, and we're going to start making Americans feel safer. House approves bill to ban the sale of flavored e-cigarettes. You know that ain't good. No, you know it ain't good. We already know there's many problems with e-cigarettes causing cancer. At CPAC, it's now an all-Trump show. Insurers could lose billions if coronavirus causes Olympics cancellation. And mistaken identity, Chris Matthews. Well, we already heard about that one. Report, Tony Romo agrees to $17 million per season deal with CBS. Oh, it doesn't sound like it sounds like he has TDS if he's with CBS. Because of coronavirus, 38% of beer drinking Americans now say they won't order a Corona. Ignorance speaks. No, actually, this is not ignorance. This is what we call stupid is, stupid does. Because I'm going to drink a Corona beer, I'm going to get the coronavirus when it originated out of China. That's just like the people who won't go to Chinatown because they're in fear of getting the coronavirus, isn't it? It's the same thinking, isn't it? Stay away from the Chinese people and stay away from Corona beer. Stupid is, stupid does. Cocktails and cardboard cutouts at CPAC. GOP congressional candidate slams Representative Schiff for neglecting his district's homeless crisis. It's just perfectly on par for pencil neck, huh? All right, so we're going to go over to Epoch Times, if I can find it. Where's my Epoch Times? There it is. And so the U.S. Taliban signed deal aimed at ending war in Afghanistan. Very good. Coronavirus live updates here. Trump threatens. Here we go. Iran. Oh yeah, coronavirus live updates. Iran's death toll rises. Here we go again. The same old thing. The wicked people are suffering under the the people in Iran are suffering under the wicked rulers of the mullahs who hate Trump and hate democracy, hate God, love the cult of death, Islam. I don't know why this is happening here. Oh, that's because I have to log in. Okay, hold on a second. All right, there we go. Countries around the world are taking measures to try to stem the spread of the new coronavirus disease, COVID-19, as the death toll continues to rise. Iran reports 9 new cases. Death toll rises to 43 in little itty-bitty 80 million population of Iran. Still, with 340 million living in the United States, we have still 0 deaths. The total number infected in Iran is now 593. It's just spreading bad. But the worst part is that they have all these people dying because they don't take care of their people. Death is their middle name. As several countries in the Middle East reported cases of the coronavirus stemming from Iran, the country at the epicenter of the outbreak in the region. Very interesting. This is one thing about Mike Adams was right. They were going to harvest the coronavirus from China, Iran was, and going to take those people that were harvesting it and seed it in America. But it didn't work. They harvested it from China and seeded it in their own country, didn't they? Yeah, that's exactly what's going on here. The facts are in the numbers. Iran's health minister Saeed Namaki warned on Friday of a very difficult week ahead in Iran, which only announced its first infections and deaths from the coronavirus on February 19th, and where the death rate among confirmed cases has been around 10% compared to around 3% elsewhere. Over 3 times worse. Well, I'll let you read the rest of that. Oh, here's an important one. Trump threatens sanctions on Venezuela. What's he doing with the socialist country regime who is persecuting their people? Trump said this week that the United States is preparing to impose further sanctions on Venezuelan oil industry, one of the chief sources of income for President Nicolas Maduro's authoritarian regime as it continues to cling to power. The news came less than a week after the Trump administration announced sanctions against Geneva-based but Russian-controlled oil brokerage Rosneft Trading SA, which U.S. officials say have been helping the Venezuelan regime to skirt the American oil embargo by acting as an intermediary to supply Venezuelan oil to third parties in Asia. You'll be seeing something on that in the not-too-distant future, Trump said at a news conference in New Delhi as his recent trip to India came to a close. Here could be a very serious sanctions when pressed. The president indicated that further sanctions were on the way. You are going to see in a little while. You are asking a question right in the middle of us doing something, he said. All right. So Trump puts more heat, and you know that's not going to be good for Venezuela. We also have a second case in California of the coronavirus that is unknown. New cases, coronavirus cases in California, Oregon, and Washington suggest community spread. of unknown. New coronavirus cases confirmed in the Pacific Northwest suggest the new virus may be spreading in the community in the United States. Officials said Washington State, Oregon, and California officials confirmed in total 4 new cases on Friday. We knew it was going to spread a little bit. Officials do not know where or how 3 of the patients became infected, making them possible instances of the community spread, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Community spread means that people acquire COVID-19, the disease caused by the new virus, through an unknown exposure in the community. The first case of unknown origin was confirmed on February 26th in Northern California. 3 more were reported on February 28th. Yesterday, there was no known travel exposure for this individual. So this is a case of the community spread of the disease, much like the case from the California earlier this week. Pat Allen, director of the Oregon Health Authority, told reporters on Friday. So still we have no deaths in America, and we still have hardly anyone, maybe a possible 70 people infected with it. I don't know, 65 to 70 in the total of the U.S. Still very few people. I think this is the one I wanted to see here. No, we already read that one. Okay. And that's pretty much it for news. I would stay away from Alex Jones and him selling his food thing. He keeps barking up that. Why? Because he's probably making a lot of money with it. Okay. Alex Jones has a lot of good products, but the store food thing, you can buy it if you want, but it's really hard to eat. Don't expect to eat it now. It's pretty scary with all kinds of preservatives in it. All food that is dried food has to have preservatives in it. All of it. Okay? It's not going to last long. Iran calls on people to stay at home as death toll rises to 43. So anyway, that'll be all for today's reports this morning. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you here tomorrow. May the Lord bless. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very important announcement. Would you like to see most of your illnesses go away? Let me introduce you to the Water Smacker. A new modern breakthrough in science has come to knowledge, ridding your body of many toxins through this state-of-the-art new technology. The testimonials are endless. People have been healed of shingles, pancreas survivor healed, colon cancer patient healed. Your skin returns its oil back to itself and elasticity. Gray hair goes away. Look younger. Red blood cells return to being round. Plaque in your arteries is wiped out. Blood pressure is lowered. Feel stronger and have more energy. Return to a more youthful feeling and look. Pick up your Water Smacker today for only $350, and don't forget to mention Brother Jim sent you. The link is down below, along with a website and other videos for a much longer description. Thank you.